The explosion is so immense that it is felt for miles and leaves absolutely nothing of the plane or the pilots behind, creating a fireball that illuminates the coast of England for a brief and terrifying moment. This scene highlights the extreme measures the Allies were willing to take to ensure the V-3 never became operational, and it marks a tragic turning point for the Kennedy family that will change American history forever. The failure of Project Anvil demonstrates that both sides of the conflict were pushing the limits of technology into dangerous and unpredictable territory, often with fatal consequences for the men on the front lines. Joseph Kennedy Jr. becomes a martyr to a threat that was already being dismantled by the Tallboy bombs, his life lost in an attempt to destroy a concrete monster that was already dying. The camera pans over the empty airfield where his comrades wait for a return that never comes, leaving only the silent and charred remains of a mission that was as ambitious and flawed as the weapon it was meant to destroy.
As the spring of 1945 arrives, the grand illusions of the Third Reich are crumbling under the weight of a two-front invasion, and the secret world of the V-3 is finally exposed to the light of day. The rapid advance of the British and Canadian forces across northern France leads them to the ridge at Mimoyek, where they finally stand before the mysterious concrete monster they had been bombing from the air for months. As the first Allied soldiers cautiously enter the dark and damp tunnels, they are stunned by the sheer scale of the construction that Hitler had hidden beneath the earth. The camera moves through the silent galleries, where abandoned tools and half-finished meals tell the story of a frantic and sudden retreat by the German guards and engineers. The soldiers discover the massive shafts that were meant to house the 100-meter barrels, and they see the twisted remains of the steel tubes that were shattered by the Tallboy strikes. It is a moment of profound realization for the Allied commanders, who now see exactly what kind of terrifying fate had been planned for London if these guns had ever been allowed to fire in unison. Meanwhile, in Germany, the mobile V-3 units are being hunted down in the forests as the American army moves toward Lampeter, forcing the Nazi crews to sabotage their own weapons to prevent them from falling into enemy hands.
We see the soldiers using explosive charges to blow apart the multi-chamber sections that August Condors had spent years perfecting, leaving only scrap metal and scorched earth behind. The beginning of the end is characterized by the systematic destruction of evidence as the Nazi regime tries to hide the failures and the crimes associated with their wonder weapons. However, the sheer size of the Mimoyek's fortress makes it impossible to erase, and it becomes a site of intense study for military intelligence officers who arrive to measure the angles and analyze the metallurgy of the gun segments.